It's Danielle, back Danielle's Homemade Products. Today my project is making some more, these were the Maxi Pads I made for myself. They do have towels, old towels in the center. I've gave these over to Graham. She's got incontinence issues, so she does have to wear both a pull-up and a poise pad, and a lot of times her skin gets really irritated and raw, so the fleece material on these kind of helps keep her from getting basically adult diaper rash is what it is. Any woman who's had to wear any woman who's had to wear a maxi pad for more than a couple days understands how raw your skin can get. So I made these originally for myself to use during my period, but I gave these over to Graham. What I did is I used this guy as a template. I traced around it. Here's my cereal box, which I need to throw away. Trace around it onto a cereal box, and you can see the parts that I modified. She doesn't need the wings because she doesn't snap them around her underwear. Obviously, they're going inside her, pull-up and poise pad. So she doesn't need the snaps or the wings. Which is what I had put them on originally for, and this one looks like one of the ones I put on a little backwards. Oh, no, this one's right. Anyway, so what I did is I traced it out on the cardboard, and then I cut it out. Well, first I modified my size, because obviously this is my thinner size, and I needed to make sure I had seam allowance. So I traced it out, and then I modified it and removed the wing areas. And then I pulled it down a little bit more and a little bit wider at the bum side, just to kind of give her a little bit extra coverage. Now, these are not going to be used for absorbency issues. They're just basically to help try to protect her skin. So I've got this all drawn out. I've got 2 yards of fleece material. You can see all of them that I've drawn out. I went ahead and drew all of them out, and I used a marker. And to me, it wasn't a big deal because this is going to be the inside, so it's not going to be seen anyway. And since this goes in, into your nether regions, it's not like it's seen regardless. But I was able to get 19 of them out of 2 yards of fabric. I probably could have got 1 or 2 more if I was better spaced it right on top of each other, but I'd rather have ample room around. So I drew it out, traced it out with the marker, and then I pinned each individual one so that I can cut both the front and the back at the same time. And then once they're all cut out, they're actually ready to sew. They're already pinned together. So, like I said, this is going to be the inside, and then the outside is the nice soft material that'll be against her skin. Yeah, my black socks. And my black fuzzy socks. So my next thing is to get these all cut out. And I kind of do it assembly line style. I drew them all out, pinned them all. I drew them and pinned them as I drew a couple of them at a time and then pinned them. So now I'm going to cut them all out, and then I will start sewing them. And I'm going to do this while I'm watching one of my favorite shows, binge watching Leverage on Hulu. So I'm going to sit my butt back down on the floor and start getting these babies cut out. And I'll bring you back once I'm at the next. I've got all 19 pads cut out, and I'm going to show you how I put them together. But first, I better be smart and get my pin box so that I have, oops, sorry, someplace to put the pins when I take them out. That's if I remember which pin I put them in. And I'll knock you guys again, sorry about that. And normally what I do is, especially depending on what I'm working on, I put my little pin box right there. So again, these are all still pinned together, and you can see I've got it cut out. You will want to remember where you start. I usually like to start somewhere in the center, because later on you're going to need that to turn them right side in. So, and I'm just using a straight stitch, nothing fancy. And I'm going to sew like 3/4 of the way around, leaving like 1 or 2 inch opening. Curves and fleece, what a fun combo. My sewing machine doesn't always like double layer of fleece to begin with, so it's always a little bit noisier. Whoops. I knocked one of my extra bobbins off the table. I always, don't mind the hair. It's frizzy today, which is why I was trying to avoid camera. I always wind extra bobbins so that I don't have to stop and wind them mid-project. And if I end up not needing them, then I just put them in my bobbin case for next time, because I mean, red's a fairly common color, so I'm sure I'll need it again at some point if I don't use them all for this. Don't be afraid to lift your foot up and adjust if you need to, because you're like me. I'm impatient and it likes to bunch up a bit. Okay. So I've got it sewn 3/4 of the way around, roughly. I left myself just a little bit of an opening. So now what I do next is I turn it right side out. If a little bit of it comes unstitched while I'm doing it, it's not really a big deal. I mean, you can start on the fatter end if that's easier for you, whichever works for you. Just make sure to poke out all your corners. If you've got some bunching or there's excess material, you can always trim it away. That's really a preference thing. Okay, now my little opening that I opened, and it's really dark in here, sorry. It's daylight and I've got the blinds open. And now the opening that I started with, that I used to turn out the pad, I'm just going to pin this closed, just to keep it in place. And then now I just go completely all the way around again to hold it in place and to give it some stability. And I always have to wedge it into my machine initially, but once I get moving, it's usually not a problem. His leg is sticking to the chair. See, it likes to eat it. Come on, come on. And I do have that problem when it comes to double fleece, because my machine can be stubborn and not wish to cooperate at times. But it also helps if you're not a dumbass and actually put your foot down, because that was part of my problem. I didn't actually lower my foot. So let me be the dumbass and make the mistake so that you learn from it. Here we go.
Well, I need a hand.
Get this wedge back under. Much better. Still noisy, but at least this time we're doing. machine's a little noisier this time around because I'm in spots actually catching 4 layers of fleece because of the inner pieces. So I don't necessarily go as fast on this round because I don't want to break a needle, have my thread rip or break or tear or any of that unfun goodness. I'm going to trim my extra threads. Unless I get impatient and push the pedal too hard. Which I tend to get a little bit impatient the longer the process takes. And getting a little over further than I cared for. I don't normally get lucky enough to get it back in the same channel, but like I said, where these are going, no one's going to see them, so I'm not too worried about that. Alright, so that's done. Now on the maxi pads that I made for myself, you're going to notice some additional stitching on the back of it. Let's see if I can bring that in a little bit better. And that is where I attach the toweling material to the inner layer before I stitch these together. And I did put, like I said, snaps on it. These ones are just going to be set on top of her poise pad, so there's no need to go any further than this unless you truly want to. I have marker all over my hand from drawing them all out. So this is what the finished product looks like. And say this was the original. This is my adopted version. Not straight, but you know what? It's okay. It's not perfect. It's homemade, but it will help her out. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these other 18 made so that I can get them washed, and that way she can start using them today. So if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below. And again, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and we'll see you soon.